Everyone hated cooties when we were younger, but look at us now. Every single one of you are a bunch of sussy bakas. Anyways, this is the story of one very interesting lad that was given a love potion by accident, and the gift came from his own sister. What happens next is something that should stay confined in the state of Alabama, because what occurs happens nowhere else, so y'all better get ready to say roll tide. So let me start from the beginning, where I have to introduce you guys to my boy Jaehyun. He's got blonde hair because he wants to be edgy, but that does not stop him from snoring up a storm. Suddenly, bro gets a surprise John Cena from his sister due to him sleeping in all day after staying up the entire night playing Roblox and Black Ops 6 with the homies, so I don't blame him as the grind never stops. After abruptly getting awoken by the oldest sister, Hannah, she orders our boy to come down and have break fast because no one else is going to make it after the dad never came back when he said he was just going to grab some milk. Now to be clear here, these two are not blood related because Jaehyun got adopted by Hannah's family long ago, back when Obama was still president instead of the Orange Man. Nevertheless, after making it down a flight of stairs, the two get greeted by yet another sister from the family who goes by the name Song, and let's just say each one of the girls are packing in more ways than one. With two very lovely women around our boy at all times, I am glad he has not succumbed to the dark side yet, because this is the type of plot I have seen in cultured anime that often goes very sussy real quick, so it looks he's a real man. Nonetheless, after the girls toy around with our boy for a bit, bro ends up devouring the entire Asian meal in one sitting, being forced to ignore all their attempts to annoy him like the usual brother-sister dynamic. But Jaehyun has ignoring down to a T. Fast forward 15 minutes later, we find our boy brushing his teeth after the meal instead of brushing his teeth before breakfast, so he is certified not a weirdo. But things get sussy real quick in the background. Using our boy's sixth sense, he could tell that one of the girls are busy walking behind him with no care at all in the world, even though they are clearly missing some clothes unless they are somehow using some invisible potions, causing our boy to freak out. But for some reason, instead of looking away like a normal person, our boy turns around to berate Hannah for not respecting her own privacy, but the blue menace strikes back and tries to show off her soft pillows to her own brother. Bro then continues on watching, but when Hannah mentions how it must be sheer torture for him to be in the same room as a woman with flawless hourglass-like figure, bro just laughs like a maniac. But in reality, these two are quite weird. Surely you guys agree with me, right? Anyways, after laughing about what Hannah was flaunting earlier, bro ends up getting beat up like your typical weakling main character, since he made a fatal mistake of making a joke about her not having a boyfriend. Luckily for our boy though, she leaves him alone to go to work, right in time for our boy's neighborhood friend, Shin, to come flying around the corner, busy trying to work up a sweat, so she asks Jaehyun to tag along. Turns out, Shin is an up-and-coming track and field star runner for her school, and with a tournament coming up in the next few days, she nags our boy to join her to no avail due to our boy having no stamina and all after never really touching grass. She then proceeds to overtake him, but before disappearing into the sunrise, she teases our boy about how often he gets beat up by Hannah, so that could only mean one thing, and that's apparently him wanting Hannah to lay her hands on him. After hearing Shin suggest that bro is truly an ultimate sussy Becca, our boy instantly catches up with her just to make things clear that he would never do such a thing, but Shin reminds him that they are not blood related, so he needs to stop being stuck up. The sussy turntables then turn when the childhood friend reveals to him that she would have preferred for them to be related, so it looks like this neighborhood really is Alabama with such fantasies these people have. Regardless, Jaehyun tries his hardest to get Shin to stop being so weird about his relationship with the girls, so he ends up doing a heartfelt speech where he yaps about how he lived together with them ever since he was born, so that makes them siblings. Unfortunately for our boy though, Shin continues to be a supreme sussy baka, so she gets him to try and imagine what it would be like if he got to do some rice cake smashing with Hannah and Song, because in this block, they got the best ones. Surprisingly, bro actually closes his eyes to try and bait Shin into saying things totally off the record, but he ends up failing the challenge and accidentally thinks of very sussy things with the two, causing him to facepalm straight back to reality. As such, Shin gets absolutely disappointed with Jaehyun, since she really did try her hardest to entice our boy to call in the Sussy Fire Nation to invade his two siblings, but she failed to completely destroy Johnny Young's special in November. Elsewhere, at the opposite side of the map, it's revealed that Hannah is having a very bad start to her day after getting made fun of by her own bro for not having a boyfriend, but now she's late because she got stuck in traffic. But to make things worse, she gets ganked by an older lady named Mary, who happens to be the new director of her department, causing her to be forced to stop and entertain her, as it would be rude otherwise. After stopping to chat with Mary, she gets even more furious when the old lady thinks she's having a bad day due to a lover's quarrel. But unable to say anything, she just chooses to play along with whatever she says. We then learn that Hannah's number one insecurity is her never entering a relationship before because she was too busy taking care of the entire family by herself, so now she's forced to make up a fake boyfriend at work. Nevertheless, Hannah starts making things up in front of Miri, talking about how she's been living with her boyfriend for far too long, so she makes up an excuse that she started seeing all his flaws after spending too much time with him. After hearing that they are having a bit of trouble at home, old lady Miri pulls out some kind of potion they just created at the lab, which also doubles as a perfume, and offers it to Hannah in an attempt to fix their relationship. However, right before Hannah could refuse the gift, Mary drops the potion right on top of Hannah's hand and disappears like the Roadrunner, where she then waved goodbye and wished her good luck with the potion. Fast forward to the end of the day, Hannah arrives back home absolutely exhausted after a long day at work, so after walking in, she ends up remembering that she brought the potion home with her, but she realizes she has no use for it. As such, she drops the potion back inside her bag and goes to see where the heck everyone is, since it's usually way louder at this time. But apparently no one is home since she forgot that Song was going to stay overnight at her work. Nonetheless, after being unable to find Song anywhere including in her own room, Hannah decides to go check on Jaehyun instead, but as she creeps towards his slightly open room, she hears no sound but can clearly see lights flashing from a computer. Hannah then tries to call Jaehyun to say hello to her, but bro does not respond, so she ends up taking a look inside his room because as she got closer to the door, she began to hear some weird sounds that do not usually appear on Netflix. Suddenly, after taking a closer look inside the room, Hannah found her boy busy too locked in playing with his PlayStation controller, unaware that someone has finally came home, so it looks like bro just got caught in 4K. Bro is so in tune with his joystick right now that he ends up not hearing his door swing open, and the worst part in all of this is that Jaehyun is not even wearing any type of headphones, so there is no way Hannah could not have been detected. So to get her brother's attention, Hannah ends up whipping out her brand new iPhone 69 and turns on Flash, whilst also maxing out the volume before proceeding to spam a bunch of pictures, causing our boy to finally take notice. Jaehyun then freaks out after realizing that his alone time has randomly turned into a co-op session. So he starts yelling at Hannah to get out, since what kind of psycho would come in and take pictures during his solo tissue leveling episode. Unfortunately for our boy though, Hannah refuses to budge and starts yapping about how bro is all grown up now, so she goes and mentions how everyone should know how much his Dark Knight has grown over the years by posting new pictures on his social media. She then continues on her tirade, making fun of Jaehyun for the type of sussy videos he likes to watch in private, as she never expected him to be into Overwatch and League of Legends Rule 35-1 since it's 2024. Now that Hannah has crossed the line by making fun of his favorite way to pass time at night, bro gets up and starts yelling so hard that smelly liquid comes flying out of his mouth due to him forgetting to brush his teeth today. Eventually, bro remembered that his Audio-Technica microphone does not have a pop filter on, so he abruptly stops arguing with his sister to turn around and protect his Street Fighter fighting stick, since this situation is even too sussy for him. But while our boy is busy turned around, Hannah hits level 1000 of anger and proceeds to whip out the potion she got from Mira and aims it right at our boy, busy thinking to herself that she worked so hard just for him to be a brat. And since she's had enough of his attitude with how not thankful he is for her basically being the mother of the house by taking care of everyone, she goes and let loose by activating the spraying option, totally forgetting it came from Mira. She then runs out of the room straight into hers, thinking that she got payback by acting like she just taught a cat a lesson since bro hates water, allowing her to freshen up without remembering that the potion is supposed to be for her boyfriend. While thinking that it serves him right for being inconsiderate of her feelings, she ends up getting a flashback to the time when they were younger, where our boy constantly visited Hannah at work, especially when she forgot her food. He would go and deliver her lunch or dinner by himself after noticing that she left it on the counter, since bro knows she would come home super hungry and more tired if he didn't, so things were much more wholesome back then. Back in the present, while she was too busy reminiscing about the good old times, she gets snapped back to reality when she hears Jaehyun inside her room trying to see if she is still awake at this time of the night. But since she did not reply or even move from her position, our boy ends up jumping in on her bed Superman style with half his face disappearing, so it seems as if something urgent is happening. Hannah then tries to ignore him, but bro relents and continues trying to wake her up, so after a minute she decides to act like she just woke up and proceeded to look super annoyed at him, so he better hurry it up. After revealing to her that his urgent problem has to do with his special rock being unable to go back to its normal small form, Hannah loses it and gets super furious with our boy as she wanted some beauty sleep before tomorrow. Regardless, Jaehyun informs her that this has never happened to him before, so he's actually super worried something must have broken, causing Hannah to vividly remember what she did when they were fighting earlier, so she smirks and realizes that it works. However, upon her fully remembering that this was meant specifically for a boyfriend of hers, she begins to slowly freak out deep inside as it dawned on her that this is a brand new product from her department, but somehow she's never seen it before. She then tries to play it off as no big deal, but in reality she has no idea what could have been put inside the potion, so she ends up having to call emergency services when our boy tells her that it feels like it's about to explode. Unfortunately, Bro tells her that he does not think there is enough time to save him before anyone could arrive, causing Hannah to hit the peak of her panic mode as she knows this is actually all her fault by not thinking things through. Now with Jae-young's sword on the line, he has no choice other than to ask Hannah for a hand since he apparently does not have enough energy within him to do it himself, so it looks like things are about to level up quickly. For a few seconds, Hannah stays quiet and tries to decide whether or not this is truly her fault, but eventually she came to the conclusion that it is her fault even though it was Jae-hyun that provoked her, so she reluctantly asks him to uncage the dragon. So in a blink of an eye, our boy's dragon was uncaged and let loose to say hello to the world. But since this is the first time Hannah was actually facing having to do anything truly sussy, she looks like she's about to pass out. She's then unable to move as if someone said Spanish or English to her. So with time ticking faster by the second, Bro calls her out to stop staring at the awakened mythical fruit and to do something or else he might actually disappear from the world. Now forced to do something since she's indeed the one that made her bed, Hannah slowly crawls forward to aid the man in need, but she is too busy thinking about how ugly a dragon's sword is up and close, and she cannot believe how giant it is. Eventually though, she musters up enough courage to finally hold his spoon, and upon doing so, she's unable to fathom how extra large the spoon was, and she never knew it would feel warm like some fresh dumplings out the pan. After making contact with his Asian-style spoon, Hannah has no idea how to help him out to get rid of the potion, so to the best of her abilities, she tried to copy what she saw him do when she accidentally caught him in 4K staring at the monitor earlier. Nevertheless, as she successfully extracts some weird liquid from our boy's enlarged elite controller, she smiles whilst busy thinking to herself that this situation could turn out pretty fun for her after seeing him in a pacified state. However, after just a minute of playing up and down roller coaster with Jae-young, our boy alerts her to the fact that he does not think normal hand usage would suffice to get rid of the rest of the liquid, so he asks her to level it up. He then pleads with her to use the mouth since that is where spoons always go, and since she caught him seeing the exact same motions happen on his monitor when he was being a sussy baka just an hour ago, then she should know how to copy it too. Surprisingly, Hannah barely hesitates after hearing his suggestion since she does not want anything to go wrong with our boy's future, with her wanting to be an auntie one day, so she ends up putting the blue hair back as a sign for Bro to get ready. A few seconds later, Hannah closes her eyes and gets up close with the galactic spoon in front of her, and right before she plunged straight in like my plunger straight into my Taco Bell blown toilet, she tells herself it's just a sausage. Our boy then turns on his ultimate sussy baka mode as he begins to yell out how much relief it feels like he is getting. Meanwhile, Hannah is busy wondering if this dude freshened up today because the Slurpee tastes super sour and moldy. Eventually, our boy grimaces, but not in pain, but the opposite, because he can finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. So Bro ends up taking control of the situation by pushing Hannah faster, causing his chopstick to do some explosion jutsu. Shortly after taking control of the situation, due to Jae-hyung not being able to handle the potion any longer, Hannah ends up drinking an entire glass of Jae-hyung's lactose-free milk, causing her treasure cove to feel like it's pulsating. But even after our boy was able to unleash a torrent of white liquid from his chopstick, he discovers that his joystick is still plugged in and roaring to play, so he asks Hannah for more help, but she refuses, claiming she does not care anymore. Suddenly, with Bro desperate to stop his dark night from constantly rising, he makes a deal or no deal offer to Hannah by asking her if she will allow him to use her special treasure cove, since he is sure that will be the answer. So after hearing his crazy Alabama-style request, Hannah activates her 9 tail powers to have unlimited chakra, allowing her to non-stop whack our boy back to his senses, since there is no way she would allow him to do that. Nonetheless, with our boy not wanting to take an L right now as it seems like his life depends on it, Ro pulls out the forbidden technique called the sad puppy eyes to try and get Hannah to give in, since he knows how great of a sister she is to him. Initially, Hannah was able to defend against the legendary unstoppable attack, but after a few seconds, she stopped destroying him with the pillow and ends up looking like she is about to give in to his demands due to how nice she is. Literally a few blinks later, Hannah fell to the dark side and said screw it, why not, as she blames herself for the entire situation. So she ends up fully unlocking the gates to her treasure cove right in front of our boy, telling him this will only happen once. Now that our boy's wish was finally granted thanks to Hannah's mishap, Bro takes a massive gulp as he did not really expect her to say yes, but not wanting to lose his remote forever, he decides to continue on with the plan. But instead of using his spicy chicken tenders to good use, Bro pulls out the reverse Uno card and ends up returning the favor for what she did earlier by activating his special Mountain Dew drinking technique on the unsuspecting target. After trying to understand why he would do such a thing, Bro uses his big brain to tell Hannah that he is doing this just to make sure nothing gets broken. So a minute later, he tells her to get ready as the ship is about to sail.